Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to Player Analysis. Today we're talking about Michail. Hopefully the people that watched, you enjoyed the James Ward-Prowse video yesterday. If you haven't watched that, please go and check that out first. Now, because the international break is hard to do content, so Player Analysis is where it's at right now, and that's the series we're going to be doing. A player every day up until international break ends, maybe. Depending on how many days. I probably haven't even done the maths right. I've already done one of Ben Johnson before. I don't know who I'm going to do a video on tomorrow. I'll figure that out. But the reason why I want to do a video on Mikeytimmo is because he's been there a long time and he's come back and he's on form. So make sure to like the video, subscribe as well. And we're on the road to 500 subscribers. I will keep reminding you until we get there. Thank you for the support recently. It's been great, especially in 2024. And yeah, let's get into it. Mikeytimmo, obviously, been there 9 years. Played nearly every position on earth. Has even said in an interview before that you'd like to play in goal if it comes down to the situation where we don't have any subs left and the goalkeeper gets sent off. But I think with Areola and Fabianski, I'd like to think neither of them would get sent off. And goalkeepers are much sharper off the line nowadays. But Michail is back, and he has, not single-handedly, but he's given us a real bounce back in the Freiburg game, partly the Burnley game, and just helped us in the first half of the Aston Villa game where he became an outlet. Now, if you go online, you will think Michail killed people's families and he's this psychopath, and he's done everything wrong. But if you go in real life, you would see that people understand the frustrations of Antonio, but they still appreciate him and still think he's contributed a lot. And the reason why I love him so much is because we always go back to him and rely on him, and he always does the job. Now, he is a frustrating player. Don't get me wrong, he's very frustrating. It makes me laugh a lot when he plays because you don't know what's going to happen next. I've never, ever seen a player like him. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. Because the fact that he's this strong, he used to be so fast, but he's such a nuisance towards defenders. Till this day in 2024, him being 33, 34 years old. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the fact that he's dropped out of the Jamaica squad just proves, I think we're just trying to save him because we need him. But we rely on him too much. Now, let's go back. Now, under Slaven Bilic, Victor Moses was the one that was starting first on the right. And it was a bit confusing sometimes with the lineup. So we're thinking, are we going to play this Antonio guy or not? We didn't know whether he was going to get a chance. He made his debut against Man City when we beat Man City, the last time we beat Man City in the league. And ever since then, it's been on and off. I think the first time he played right back was when we were beating Liverpool in the FA Cup. We were putting attackers on. We took someone off and we just put him that right back. And then he played well in that FA. I think it was the FA Cup game against Liverpool where we beat them. It was a game on TV. I don't remember. It was definitely at Upton Park. I could be wrong, but I think it was definitely at Upton Park, and my memory serves me well. And then he kept playing there. He kept playing there up until the first game of the 16-17 season, where Bilic even said he can become one of the best right backs in the world. Now, I wanted this right back experiment to end immediately because I was like, this guy's a winger. Now, don't get me wrong, he still contributed in the last game of the Boleyn when he was playing right back, I'm pretty sure, alongside Tomkins. Was it Tomkins Reed? No, I think it was Collins and Reed. No. How can I forget? I think it was Ogbonna and Reed. Ogbonna, Reed and Cresswell and Antonio in the back four. And then he played right wing back when we played Chelsea first game of the season, 16-17 season. He then takes him off for Sam Byron. We eventually stopped playing him at right back. The only time we played him right back after that was a couple of times under David Moyes and a couple of times even under Pellegrini. And Antonio even played left wing back under Moyes when Moyes was first here in that infamous Burnley game where the fan ran on the pitch. Whenever we're struggling, we always go back to him. So, even Pellegrini, somebody didn't really rate Antonio, somebody didn't really want to play Antonio, rather play Yarmolenko on the right, rather play Felipe Anderson on the left, people that may have more technical ability, but weren't going to show it, and never really did to the full effect. Antonio would be the guy to come back from injury and try and save us again. Now it's 2024. We still don't have a striker that David Moyes likes. And we've gone back to Michail Antonio to be like, can you please single-handedly save us again? Now, that sounds like I'm insulting Michail Antonio. It's not an insult. I just think we rely on him too much, the fact that we play him too much. Now, we're about to play Thursday, Sunday football again. We've got the Tottenham game, Newcastle game, etc. And I've heard Edson Alvarez is banned for Newcastle and Tottenham because of the yellow cards he's got, which is annoying. And he's also banned for Leverkusen first leg, which is also annoying. So I don't really give us much hope in those games because we seem to capitulate without him. But Calvin Phillips, this is why we signed Calvin Phillips, but that'll be a story for another day. With Antonio now, got Saturday game, then we've got a Wednesday game, then we've got a Saturday game again or Sunday game again, and then we've got Thursday, Sunday. I don't know if Antonio is going to manage that, if we're going to see the same sharpness from Antonio, if we're going to run him into the ground like we did 2 years ago. We're going to need him for that Leverkusen game because they've never come up against someone like Antonio. That's what's great about being in Europe, is that we've got players like Antonio that you will never really come up against a player like him. And I think a lot of people criticise Antonio nowadays for what he says on his podcast rather than who he is as a player. Don't get me wrong, Antonio is very frustrating. You don't even have to agree with what he says on his podcast, and I get the reasoning of players shouldn't have a podcast until they retire, but I think it's more there for the easy transition for him to put his name out there. He wasn't going to presenting afterwards. I don't think it actually has that much of a dampen, on the team and what people are saying, etc. I don't think it's actually that deep. I don't particularly care that much. I just care about performing on the pitch, how you're going to perform on the pitch, and I will still criticise Antonio the same way I'll criticise anyone, but I take most people's criticisms as a pinch of salt, and I feel like some of the reasons for when people criticise players, they just take anything as like it's such a big deal. Like any quote from his podcast, any little touch, anything they can twist. And we know what the big accounts are like on Twitter. But overall, Antonio's done a lot for this club. That's a man who's done a lot. That's a man who, for me, is a legend. The man who is our all-time top goal scorer in the Premier League. That's important. And we've never really had that much of a consistent goal scorer. Like, in my lifetime, he's the closest to that. And can you fault him for his hard work, him not even throwing a strop, playing in multiple positions, him now being a striker, running the channels, being an outlet? Can't fault him. But let me know what you think of Michail Antonio in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new. The road to 500 subscribers is on. Social media's are in the description if you want to follow me, and the email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.